Saturday afternoon in the Southern Conference, live from Liston B. Ramsey Regional Activity Center in Cullowhee, North Carolina. Welcome you into our ESPN3 coverage of Southern Conference basketball, as today the first place ETSU Buccaneers visit the Catamounts of Western Carolina. Hello everyone, Daniel Hooker alongside Jeff Bryson. And Jeff, just a few games remaining in the Southern Conference regular season. Tight races abound across the league, and both of these two teams are involved in some. You got ETSU trying to fend off UNCG at the top of the Southern Conference standings, while Western Carolina is trying to avoid that first day of the Southern Conference tournament.
You're right. The Catamounts are tied currently, as you can see, with Mercer for fifth place at 7-7 in the conference standings. So this is a big game. The Catamounts trying to even the season series with the Buccaneers. They lost earlier this season in Johnson City, and also they'll face Mercer coming up on Tuesday down in Macon, Georgia. And also in those standings, talking about teams trying to avoid that cutoff line, below sixth place, Sanford is hosting Furman today. The Citadel will host VMI, all trying to avoid finishing below sixth place because it does mean an extra round of games in the Southern Conference tournament.
Of course, the two teams that are involved in that fifth place and first place tie, Jeff mentioning, playing here this afternoon. And you talk about ETSU. They come to Cullowhee on the heels of having its school record-tying 16-game winning streak snapped. That was back earlier this week down at UNCG.
And we talk about East Tennessee State. They were held to that 56 points by UNCG. So head coach Steve Forbes said of his team after that game, I thought we got manhandled. Only one guy came to play in Deshante Bradford. Forbes said that he felt the loss had been coming because they had been playing exceptionally well, but he does fully expect him to be ready today.
You talk about Deshante Bradford. He is one of our impact players for the Buccaneers of ETSU. Bradford, one of the top players in the Southern Conference this year.
Daniel Bradford is an athletic guard that ranks third in the league in scoring at 15 points per game. He's fifth in the conference, right at 6 rebounds per game. He was the SoCon Player of the Month in January. I would say he's well on his way to a first-team All-SoCon Conference selection.
On the other side of the ledger this afternoon, you have Western Carolina, the Catamounts. They look to halt a 2-game slide. That coming on the heels of 3 consecutive wins for Western Carolina.
2 of those 3 wins in that streak came here in the Ramsey Center. For the Catamounts, 4 of their final games are being played at home, where they've won 7 of 9 this year. So it's a real chance to make a move here late in the season.
And if they're going to make that move, it's going to have to come off the hands of Mike Amius, the Western Carolina leading scorer, but a big challenge today against the interior defense of ETSU.
Amius averages nearly 13 points per game. He's coming off his 5th 20-plus point performance against Wofford. He's only been in double figures 15 times this year. Larry Hunter and his squad need him to pick it up on the rebounding end, though. He's only got 4 combined boards in his last 2 games.
Amius did not reach double figures in the first meeting with ETSU earlier this year. Only had 8 points in that meeting up in Johnson City, Tennessee, and it snapped a 8-game double-digit figure scoring streak for the big fella down inside. He'll be tested again against the bigs of ETSU here this afternoon. Let's take a look at our keys to today's ball game. First for ETSU, Jeff, trying to bounce back from that road loss earlier this week.
We mentioned one of the lowest scoring outputs of the season, only 56 points, but no need to panic for this team. They're just going to trust what got them that 16 straight wins before that loss to UNCG.
Of course, they need to go from defense to offense, Jeff. That's a big opportunity. They are very good defensively, and that can lead to some easy buckets. For Western Carolina, they've got to handle that pressure. For the Buccaneers, they are very good defensively.
Got to value the basketball on every possession, handle the Buccaneers' defensive intensity, and just take care of the basketball.
And, of course, for Western Carolina, it all starts with Larry Hunter's squad on the defensive end of the floor. Defense is key. They've had good intensity over the last handful of weeks for Larry Hunter's squad as they try to get something going here against the league-leading ETSU Buccaneers. Mike Amius will jump center against Peter Jerkin for the Buccaneers. And again, talking about Peter Jerkin, he's one of those big inside guys for ETSU. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this one as we wait. I got a stoppage right before the tip. We were ready to go, and the one official will slow things back down. But again, a good crowd on hand inside the Ramsey Center as we get this one jump center. And nobody touches it, so another delay here. Both these teams trying to get this game off and running. 20 minutes up on the big board. Amius has Jerkin tip it back, and ETSU goes. Here's the starting 5 for both of the teams rolling along the bottom of the screen. ETSU in the road blue, Western Carolina in the home white, and an early turnover for the Buccaneers. They try to go really quickly there. As you see, Mike Amius in that starting lineup. Darius Parks, another key for Western Carolina. Marcus Thomas, Devin Peterson, 2 guards in the starting lineup for the Catamounts. They have not been there all this year. And it's one of those things, those 2 guys trying to combat the ETSU guards.
Talking about the leading scorers out of this starting five, Desante Bradford at 15 points per game for the Buccaneers. Jalen McLeod at 12 points per game. For the Catamounts, it's Amius with 12 points per game, and Darius Parks at 10 points per game.
Marcus Thomas trying to get going, and he's going to be fouled out in front. They're going to get Desante Bradford with a foul, I believe, on the trip. No, they actually switched it up, and they go now with Jermaine Long with the foul call there. Series history all-time, 79th meeting between these two programs. ETSU has dominated the series, especially winning 22 of the last 23 overall.
And we talk about the Catamounts' lone win during the span since 1998. The only win came in the 2015 Southern Conference Tournament in overtime.
A very exciting ball game over in Asheville, which will host the Southern Conference Basketball Championship again this year. Jump shot up by Marcus Thomas, no good. Rebound picked up by ETSU. Coach Larry Hunter talked about his squad needing to get off to a good start. Right now they got a stop on one end, couldn't convert on the other, and now looking for a second consecutive stop, and will do so with the defensive rebound picked up by Devin Peterson.
Both teams opening up cold, shooting the basketball here in the opening couple of minutes of the game.
Peterson, jump stop, left side, that one back of the rim, no good. ETSU will be off and running. Devontavious Payne all the way down. The layup blocked by Devin Peterson, who got back on defense for Western Carolina. Catamounts went 8 minutes in Johnson City and did not score a bucket, but ETSU missed several shots along the way, only led 11-0 at that point. Catamounts were able to crawl back in it as Mike Amius takes it up hard, using the challenge of Peter Jerkin down low, and Amius with the first bucket of the game.
And much like we saw against Wofford on Thursday night, Amius had a dunk to open that game, and the Catamounts need to keep the scoring going here. They have a chance to pull the upset here at home.
Amius with a dunk against Wofford and then kind of faded off a little bit. He ended up with 20 points in the win as Jermaine Long knocks one down from distance to get the Bucks on the board and give ETSU their first lead at 3-2. But Amius kind of fell into the wings in the middle part of that ball game and turned it on in the second half. Ended up with 20 points for Western Carolina in that loss against the Terriers. Catamounts looking to bounce back-to-back defeats on the year. Right side, Gosselin, his three no good. Battling on the boards, Marcus Thomas will benefit from two Buccaneers battling for the ball, but he can't score from close range.
Well, the Catamounts lead the Southern Conference in offensive rebounding, and a good board there by Marcus Thomas, but just unable to finish. And now East Tennessee State with a chance to build on this narrow lead, and a long one out of the corner.
Devontavious Payne with the triple from the right corner, and ETSU, a team that doesn't shoot all that many three-pointers per ball game, already off to a really good start. They've knocked down their first two shots, both coming from range. They average right at 7 a ball game. Entry pass to Amius, who goes right inside, and he gets a slam dunk. He gets knocked to the deck at the same time. As undercutting was Peter Jerkin, they'll count the basket and the foul, the old hoop and the harm.
The Buccaneers are opening up in a man-to-man defense, but it's not causing many problems here for Mike Amius, as he's had two strong moves to the basket.
Steve Forbes, the head coach for ETSU. 2017 win a year ago, 2 appearances in the SoCon championship game. He's won 73 games. As you got to look at the head coach, he can't like what he sees here as Mike Amius gets a free path down the midline and then a foul on his big man, Peter Jerkin. Free throw by Amius, no good. Rebound picked up by ETSU. They've got the basketball and an early 2-point lead. Right side, another 3-ball coming from Jermaine Long. That one just off the mark, no good. Rebound battled for it. Mladen Armas, a freshman out of Belgrade, Serbia, he's new into the ball game. He can't come down with it. And it's Western Carolina basketball, and Western Carolina head coach Larry Hunter, 701 career victories, 40th coach to do so all time, 13th year in Cullowhee, 38th overall as a head basketball coach. Watching his squad go to the offensive end now, just under 17 minutes to go. Catamounts right back to Mike Amius. Amius working against Armas and trying to pass it back out, and that time Gosselin had floated to the corner.
You see Forbes over on the sideline. He came to the Buccaneers from Wichita State, where he was an assistant coach with Greg Marshall, and he's done nothing but win since he arrived in Johnson City.
2-point ball game, 16:45 and rolling. First half action. Catamounts now into a zone defense, kind of daring ETSU to shoot the long ball. But here's a Devontavious Payne drive right down the lane. Armas able to get the offensive rebound, keeps it alive, and the Buccaneers back to work. Dribble penetration, that's what these guards do so well. Bradford can't get that one to fall. Another offensive rebound. David Burrell kicks it back out, and now a foul going to be called on the pass underneath. But a couple of offensive rebounds down inside him. Again, in that zone defense, you might think you'd have a better opportunity of getting some of those boards, but right now, good dribble penetration by ETSU going towards the glass.
Been a little step quicker going for the offensive boards. And that foul, by the way, went on the Catamounts' Marcus Thomas. That's his first team foul.
Long entry pass comes back across the timeline. Buccaneers with a 2-point lead. Fresh shot clock as they go back to work. Jermaine Long out in front. Has it again, top of the key, dribble drive. Bradford's pass picked off by Darice Parks. Parks all the way down the floor, loses a handle on the way up, but I believe they're going to get the foul on Devontavious Payne.
Watch the replay here after the takeaway. Darice Parks just trying to get a handle on the basketball, and you see the contact on the way to the hoop. So Darice Parks will be at the line to shoot two. That foul on Devontavious Payne, so that's going to be his first.
Darice Parks' first free throw up and good. 79% from the stripe this year for the senior. Missed most of last year after a knee injury. Got an extra year. Can't find the range on the second one, and rebound picked up by Bo Hodges, freshman in the game for ETSU. Hodges was injured in that first meeting on a hard foul by Mark Gosselin. Gosselin went in and blocked a shot, and the contact of the two bodies colliding knocked Bo Hodges into the baseline. And Armas is going to be guilty of an offensive foul as he plows through Mike Amius. It'll be Western Carolina basketball after the quick timeout. 15:50 to go before the halftime break. It's a 1-point lead for the Buccaneers, but they get a foul here on Armas as he plows his way to the basket. Amius draws it. It's a 1-point game. 15:50 to go before the break.
When you're feeling hungry, you don't want to mess around with a quarter-pound meat sandwich. Instead, eat the new half-pound roast beef sandwiches. 8 ounces of thinly sliced, tender roast beef. And if you really want a quarter pound of beef, that's cool. Just eat half of one of these. Arby's, we have the meat.
Okay, it's Ford Truck Month, and here's how it works. You take F-150, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, work in best-in-class towing and payload, sweeten up the offer, and boom. Look who just saved a stack of cash. Step on it, sport. Drive home America's selling truck 41 years straight. Ford Truck Month is here. It's buy now time, people.
Right now, get a 2018 F-150 with $10,459 in total savings. Plus, with your trade-in, get $1,000 trade assist cash. Only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
Couple of made three-pointers by the Buccaneers. They've got a 1-point lead over Western Carolina, 6-5 here early in the ball game. With more on today's matchup, let's check in with a third member of our broadcast team, Summer McMahon. Summer?
Thanks, guys. I talked to Coach Savage before the game, and he said after ending their winning streak Monday night at UNCG, it is important that they respond well to that loss and get back to who they are as a team tonight. He also said they have to play together, share the ball, and get off to an early start on offense.
Thanks a lot, Summer. Mark Gosselin will give Western Carolina the lead back as he takes the beat the full court press that time of ETSU and get an easy layup in transition.
Both teams ice cold, though, to open. 28% shooting for the Buccaneers, only 33% for the Catamounts. And as soon as we say that, the Buccaneers drain a 3, and that's going to be their third of the game, shooting 3 of 5 from long range. So that's one area, Daniel, that they are happy with the start of today's game.
And 2 of those have been knocked down by Devontavious Payne, who gets the second free throw. He likes that spot in that right corner. 9-7, Buccaneers with the lead. Western Carolina trailing with the basketball. Abubakar Mutombo will check in for Western Carolina. Catamounts will need his senior leadership. He's not played an awful lot second half of the year. Devin Peterson drives down the lane. His shot's no good. Contact as he got rode to the basket. Rebound picked up by ETSU going the other direction. Bradford down the lane. Jump shot up and good. Very few in the conference better than DeSante Bradford in finishing among traffic and in getting points in transition.
Both teams playing with a little more intensity after that media timeout. And let's see if Gosselin can connect on the 3. It's off the mark and still battling down low for the rebound.
Catamounts looking for offense without Mike Amius on the floor. Charlindez Brooks has checked in for Larry Hunter's squad. The senior out of Duncan, South Carolina. Now Matt Halverson will check in. Marcus Thomas, who got the start, will sub out. See, Thomas, who got in the starting lineup, really exploded on the scene earlier this year in a win over UNC Asheville over at the U.S. Cellular Center. And what does UNC Asheville have in common with ETSU? They're both among the collegeinsider.com mid-major top 25. ETSU ranks in at number 4 this week behind Gonzaga, New Mexico State, and St. Mary's. So 2 teams out of the West Coast Conference, 1 out of the Western Athletic Conference, and then ETSU, the highest SoCon team at 4th, as Mutombo can't finish. Battling for the rebound, Devontavious Payne pulls it down and will get a foul called on Mutombo.
And Mutombo did not play in the game against Wofford on Thursday night, so his first appearance in a couple of games. You see the move inside the lane and the contact going for the rebound.
Hunter's got to be happy with the squads getting the shots right at point-blank range, just can't knock them down. And you talk about that college inside, finishing the thought on that mid-major poll. Western Carolina has 2 other opponents in the conference, and Furman and Wofford, that are in the others receiving votes category. They've also played 3 other teams in the league are in the mid-major poll. College of Charleston at number 10, UNCG at number 17, and UNC Asheville, who the Catamounts beat, talking about Marcus Thomas with the 25 points. The Bulldogs ranking at number 24 in that poll this week.
The Buccaneers also received 5 votes this week for the Associated Press Top 25 poll.
And they had the nation's longest winning streak at 16 consecutive games, but did not play particularly well. Thought UNCG hit some really timely shots and got a big second half run to start out of the locker room. They get them that big lead that they rode to the victory. Shot clock winding down, blocked by Hodges as Mark Gosselin had to force up a 3, and there's that tenacious Buccaneer defense we talked about. Steve Forbes has got to be happy with that right now.
Doris Parks will return to the Catamount lineup, replacing Devin Peterson. As Coach Larry Hunter has had a lot of different combinations on the floor throughout the season, Daniel. He has mixed and matched, trying to find the right combo for whatever the game situation dictates at that time.
And has played a lot of different players down along that bench for Larry Hunter. 13:45 and rolling. Mike Amius will check back in next dead ball as Peter Jerkin subs back in. He'll go up against Charlindez Brooks down low. Catamount still in his own defense. They lob it into Jerkin. They love to get the lob down inside. And they also like some dribble penetration, finishing with contact, and will get the hoop and the harm. That's Nashville, Tennessee native Bo Hodges finishing strong at the rim.
You're right. Very strong move down the lane, and the contact, and the Catamounts now find themselves down by 6, their biggest deficit of the game, as Hodges will be at the stripe.
Buccaneers right now shooting close to 46%. Defensively, they've limited Western Carolina to just 27%. Free throw by Hodges is good. 70% free throw shooter thereabouts on the year. That allows him to get into this full court pressure. Catamounts beat it. 2-on-1 return. Parks all the way down. Goes right in against Peter Jerkin and will lay it up and in. Doris Parks in transition, able to get the game back to his favor, getting up the floor.
Early on, that's an important basket for the Catamounts. The Buccaneers had started showing some separation, but the Catamounts able to convert and keep their goal, obviously, in the first half. Love to lead, but they want to go at least to the halftime locker room within striking distance, keeping the game at single digits.
A lot of perimeter passing. The 7-footer Peter Jerkin continually just throwing his hands up in the air, and now time called, and now they're going to get Peter Jerkin called for 3 seconds down low, as he was, again, circling around the top of the key, right there around the free throw line, arms up. In the middle of that zone, Catamounts had Matt Halverson, a guard, matching up with him in 6'1" versus 7 foot. So a big disparity there, as Peter Jerkin was looking for the ball, but a lot of perimeter passing by the guards. Amius down inside, kicks it back out. Parks got the last bucket for Western Carolina in transition. Amius nearly traveled to the basketball, kicks it back to Parks. His 3 no good. And again, no rebounding right now. The Buccaneers doing a great job. Actually, they're going to say this one last touch by ETSU. Western Carolina will get a dead ball rebound, but again, right now, they're not giving Western Carolina those second chance opportunities.
And we're going to see David Burrell return for the Buccaneers, as subbing out will be Bo Hodges.
Yeah, Burrell 18th in the Southern Conference in rebounds. Close to 5 a ball game, and there's Matt Halverson with a nifty drive.
Catamounts on a 4-0 run to cut the deficit down to 3 now.
Coach Steve Forbes, very, very successful up in Johnson City, a city that has embraced this basketball team, and they brought a good crowd down I-26 and over to the Ramsey Center. Jump shot in the lane, no good. Rebound picked up by Darice Parks. Under 12 to go, first half. Darice Parks looks down inside, tries to drop it off to Mike Amius. He's able to handle it, now works around Peter Jerkin. There's an offensive rebound by Gosselin. He's in trouble. Kicks it back out to Bradford, who is hounding Darice Parks. Left side, Halverson's three, no good. Rebound picked up by Peter Jerkin. Western Carolina 0 for 5 now from beyond the arc, and DeSante Bradford in transition. Can't get it to go, but does draw the foul, so he'll be at the free throw line when we get back. Larry Hunter looking for answers to try to stop the dribble penetration of the guards of ETSU. Lately, it's been DeSante Bradford. They got a 3-point lead as Bradford comes right down the midline, trying to go for two. He'll be at the line when we get back after this.
Go.
It's time for the rivalry. We all know why, but now we're getting live to see. Two teams trying to fight for the victory, but let's see who goes down in history.
Thunder Warriors, next Saturday at 8:30 on ABC. Presented by YouTube TV.
ETSU shooting 42%. The Catamounts just 31%, but only a 3-point lead for the Buccaneers. Catamounts hanging close here inside the Ramsey Center. Again, they always play exceptionally tough here at home. 7-3 on the year this year. They've won 70% of their home games, talking about Western Carolina. As we come back, it'll be free throws for DeSante Bradford. And talking about Bradford, he's one of the leading candidates for Player of the Year in the conference. One of the leading candidates for at least a first-team all-conference nod. Again, you got players like Francis Alonso down at UNCG. You've got
Fletcher
McGee down at Wofford is another one of those players that, again, a lot of great guard play. Guys that are chiming in. I think right now, in my estimation, it might be a three-horse race between those individuals, but obviously Furman's got some good talent as ETSU switches to a zone after the timeout. 5-point lead for the Buccaneers. Lob inside. Catamounts trying to work their zone offense, and they're trying to lob it into Amius, but ball deflected away out of bounds. It'll stay with Western Carolina. Amius working against Mladen Armas, the freshman postman.
Devontae Payne and also Jermaine Long subbing in for the Buccaneers.
Trying to get it to Halverson off a ball screen, but Devontae Payne in his hip pocket. Halverson. Entry pass left side. Marcus Thomas wide open on the backside. Now the shot clock all the way down. And again, violation on Western Carolina, just not recognizing the shot clock rolling down. And a lot of it has to do with the defense of ETSU, but it's also got to be court recognition for Western Carolina.
But overall, only the second turnover for the Catamounts. So pretty good job of ball handling here in the opening 9 minutes of the game.
Deflection by Mark Gosselin, and Larry Hunter prides himself on his squad getting hands in the passing lanes. You get a look at Steve Forbes, and you talked about him in his third year. Has won almost 75% of the games they've played. And nearly pulled a big upset earlier this year. Had a big-time lead.
Xavier.
Yeah, the game against Xavier. Dribble drive down the lane. Devontae Payne open underneath. A good find after the drive by Jermaine Long. Good find underneath the basket.
So much like the Wofford game for the Catamounts, they kind of sneak close, and then the opponent kind of ekes away again. And now we see East Tennessee State building that lead up to 7 points, matching their largest lead of the first half.
Last field goal over 2.5 minutes for Western Carolina. Amius, a careless pass to the left side, just throws it out of bounds. Had two players within spitting distance of it. Neither one can get there. And now you see Darice Parks is one of the guys trying to get to the corner to get to where the ball was thrown, but again, a fastball thrown outside, and just like that, ETSU will turn Western Carolina over for the third time today. Left side, Jalen McLeod open for a three ball. That one no good, but offensive rebound. And right now, the toughness of ETSU coming through, and the Catamounts will get a strip, and it'll go the other way in the form of Marcus Thomas, and he's going to be fouled by Devontae Payne. Payne will pick up, I believe, his second foul, both coming in transition, as DeSante Bradford will stroll to the check-in line.
You see the lane gets clogged up here, but a good job by Thomas keeping his drive going to force the contact, and now he'll be rewarded with 2 free throws as the Catamounts try to trim down this 7-point deficit.
69% on the year, makes the first one. 9:55 to go. Back within 6 points. Catamounts staying within arm's length of the league leader, something they did not do up in Johnson City, Tennessee, as ETSU was able to pull ahead and got a big bucket right at the buzzer at the first half to stretch a lead out to 11. And then it was 8 straight points out of the halftime locker room to go up 19. ETSU built the lead as high as 22 and comfortably defeated Western Carolina. 1-3-1 zone for the Catamounts. Match up to the corner. There's a deflection and a steal. Outlet pass to Darius Parks coming up the floor. Parks, teardrop will not go. And again, at that point, you might like him to go ahead and pull that back out as good rotation by the Buccaneers. Here's a teardrop on the other end that's answered by Jalen McLeod.
Nice floater down the lane, and the Buccaneers back up by 7.
Really a 4-point swing there, Jeff. You missed 2 on an easy layup after a turnover and a steal, and then you give up 2 back the other way in transition. We talked about at the outset, defense to offense. Buccaneers using good defense and leading to transitional buckets. Underneath, Gosselin in trouble. His pass detected but not taken away. Amius against Armis, gets to the midline. His shot up and good. Nice job by Mike Amius. He got to the midline. Armis, great defense, cut him off to the basket, but Amius a circus shot.
I agree. Buccaneers making the Catamounts work for every point on the offensive end, but a nice job by Amius, but here's a answer by the Buccaneers.
Yeah, Armis, a great offensive rebound and an even better drop pass underneath, and right now the Buccaneers are getting points in the paint down low and are holding the Catamounts at bay. Here's a steal out in front. David Burrell all alone with a 2-handed flush. Costly turnovers leading to easy points for ETSU.
Largest lead of the half now for the Buccaneers. See Amius working up near the top of the key, and a deflected
turnover
pass, and here's turnover number 5 for the Catamounts.
Another giveaway, trying to turn it into points is Bradford all the way down the lane. Good, and it's a double-digit lead for ETSU. Costly turnovers hurting Western Carolina as we dive below the under 8-minute mark, 26-15.
And that'll be a welcome timeout for Coach Larry Hunter as the Catamounts suddenly down by double digits.
I think that's the only reason that we're not seeing Larry go to the 30-second timeout. Now a travel by Amius will get the stoppage that Larry Hunter wanted, but it was not the way he wanted to go to the under 8 timeout. Another turnover for Western Carolina. That's 4 turnovers on their last 4 possessions. Catamounts are now down by 11 points. ETSU has pulled ahead 26-15, 7:45 before the break.
When you come to the mountains, you're looking for something. A path, an adventure, a purpose. You're looking to be surrounded by something bigger than you. Because you know you're ready to reach, to rise. That's why people come here, to find it.
I have a younger daughter who's 2.5 right now. I must remain active. I teach skiing and snowboarding, kayaking. I'm used to always being active. I was really dealing with a good deal of pain. I was obviously limping at work. I'm a little younger than most people that get both hips replaced. When I got this done, it was fantastic. The day I woke up, I was like, wow, it is nice to be out of that pain. I just turned 50, and I will be snowboarding this winter.
Western Carolina finds itself down 26-15. The Buccaneers on a bit of a run here. And you go back, it was a jump shot or circus shot made by Mike Amius at the 9-minute mark, made it 20-15. But since that, a little quick 6-0 spurt, all coming off of turnovers. 3 consecutive possessions now for Western Carolina since the Amius layup that have gone as turnovers for Western Carolina.
Payne leading the Buccaneers in scoring with 8 points, and Mike Amius, top scorer for the Catamounts with 6 points. Buccaneers shooting 52%. Catamounts struggling at only 33%.
Back into a 2-3 zone. Catamounts go back with Charlindez Brooks, and now a touch foul on the far sideline is looks like Devin Peterson will be guilty of the foul. As new into the ball game is Jason Williams, sophomore guard out of Detroit, Michigan. He'll draw the foul. That's whistled against Devin Peterson. Some new faces on the floor now for Steve Forbes. Armas working hard down inside. Bradford looks at him, can't get it to him. Bo Hodges around the horn to Williams. Back up top, all alone, Williams. He'll spot for 3 and knock it down. Another triple on the board for ETSU. They've got 4 of 9 shooting from downtown here in the first half.
Catamounts on a 2-minute scoring drought, and they've seen the East Tennessee State lead balloon now to 14 points.
Ashley Williams new into the ball game for Western Carolina, senior out of Morehead City. Hands it off to Devin Peterson, and they go back with 10 on the shot clock. Got to recognize the shot clock rolling down. 6, now 5. Looking left side to Darice Parks. Finally get it to him, and now a foul going to be called on Jermaine Long as Williams on a dribble handoff. A big-time collision at the top of the key, and Jermaine Long will be guilty of the foul. Will at least be whistled for the foul, as it were. His second personal, he'll check out. Steve Forbes not happy about the call. Get another look at it right up here, top of the key. Williams the handoff, and then was able to get stopped just enough. Jermaine Long thought he had drawn the block or the foul on the offensive end, and now a foul going the other way on Western Carolina. They're going to call it on Mark Gosselin for a moving screen.
It's going to be his second personal. Both teams, as you can see, with 6 team fouls. Desmond Johnson subbing in, replacing Devin Peterson on the floor for WCU.
Yeah, Johnson had moved into that starting lineup. He was replaced by Peterson in the starting 5 today. Coach Hunter jostling the lineup, trying to make something happen here against the league leader. Dribble handoff, weave play at the top of the key, looking for the release by Armas, can't get it to him. Instead, they put it in the capable hands of DeSante Bradford inside to Armas. Armas against Amius, goes up and scores.
Right now, East Tennessee State on a 17-3 run. It was 14-11 at the last media timeout, and now East Tennessee State has just taken control of this game here late in the first half, but here's a nice shot down low.
Tip in by Darice Parks, and that's the first bucket for Western Carolina since the 9-minute mark. So over 3 minutes, and the explosive offensive team is ETSU, bouncing back nicely in the first half here after not playing particularly well down at UNCG. Left side, Jalen McLeod works his way down. Jump shot won't fall, but Armas battling for the rebound has another offensive board for the Buccaneers. Right now, Toughness winning the day. It's their 5th offensive board, again, already for ETSU. And here's a midline drive, and nobody stops the ball. And Bo Hodges, a 2-time Mr. Basketball in the state of Tennessee, showing why there with a layup right down the midline.
Found a crease and just worked his way all the way to the glass, and the Buccaneers back up by 16.
So another big deficit for Western Carolina against ETSU. Darice Parks, left side corner. Parks has to take a long 3, and he knocks it down. Way outside. Darice Parks, kind of a frustration 3, will close the deficit back to 13.
Now you're under 5 minutes, and for the Catamounts, trying to get it down to single digits would be a big accomplishment heading into the halftime locker room.
Marcus Thomas looking for a steal and will have it. Nifty behind the back dribble all the way down the lane. Can't make the layup. Parks was open on the corner. Wide open, in fact, for a 3. On the other end, a 3 ball on the way, no good, but another offensive rebound. Bradford misfires short range.
Catamounts fortunate to come away with a basketball. Too much standing under the basket. Bradford, between 4 Catamounts, got that offensive board and unable to convert, so the Catamounts fortunate to come away with a basketball.
Still down 13. And Thomas, last exchange, missed a point-blank layup, and he had a man open. Now he'll go up and under. How about that? Pivots all the way around like a whirling dervish and then goes up with a layup.
Well, he had a strong game against Wofford, and he's being rewarded with good minutes here for the in the first half for Larry Hunter.
back to within 11 at 33-22. Catamounts have tried to stem the tide, so to speak. Jalen McLeod around the horn to Williams. Armas flashes high and takes the pass there, the big man. A good passer for a youngster. Dribble handoff. McLeod dishes it off all alone, and Hodges will finish once again. Again, you talked about too much standing around defensively. Feet stuck in concrete right now for Western Carolina, and Hodges finishes easy at the rim.
And right now the Buccaneers are making the Catamounts pay for that stationary defense.
3.5 to go. Marcus Thomas looks at Mark Goslin, who now kicks it to the corner. All alone is Parks. His three ball will not fall. Athletic rebound attempt by Desmond Johnson tips it away, but ETSU out and running. Williams nearly double dribbled, now works it around the perimeter. Armas posting up underneath. They got to get him the ball against Amius. Instead, they go with Hodges. He's had the hot hand. Dribble drive all the way down. They count the basket and the foul, and Bo Hodges has taken over here in Cullowhee. Hodges was hurt in the first meeting with the Catamounts up in Johnson City. Only saw 18 minutes of game time. He's making the most of his minutes now. The hoop and the harm. He'll be at the line when we get back.
Go.
ETSU out in front of Western Carolina, 37-22, 3:04 to go before the halftime break. And again, the most talented member of our broadcast team is our sideline reporter, talking about Summer McMahon. And Summer actually did something today, Jeff. She performed the national anthem, the front of Summer McMahon, and
after you declined.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, the Mountain Faith Band and Summer. Yeah, they didn't want me to do it. And you see Summer here performing the national anthem. Summer, in preparation to do double duty today, what was it like getting ready for today's broadcast, knowing you had to sing the national anthem before the game?
First of all, you are more than welcome to sing the national anthem with us. Next time, we would love to have you. The preparation, music, I've done that for 18 years, so I'm a little more comfortable with that side of it. But yesterday, I spent a lot of time. I read a lot of game recaps, studying a lot of basketball games, watching other people do this. But I love both so much that it never feels like work. So it was very exciting to get to do both today.
Well, I know you hear it all the time, but you did an outstanding job.
Thank you so much.
And Summer, got to ask you again, you get to perform with the Mountain Faith Band. It's your brother and your family, and you guys, what's it like being out here on the floor and close to your hometown, being able to perform the national anthem, then have to turn around and talk to us on the sidelines?
Well, to do it with my family, that is incredible. We've been, like I said, 18 years. I've been on the road with my family all over America. We've gotten to do some really exciting things, see a lot of cool stuff. But to be here in our hometown is so exciting. I look around in the crowd and see so many really dear friends and family. So today cannot be beat.
Summer McMahon, our sideline reporter, and also a very accomplished singer. We appreciate Summer there, and we'll hear more from her coming up here at halftime. We'll have an interview with the head coach going off the floor. And obviously right now, Desmond Johnson will go to the free throw line. 38-22. Catamounts still trying to stay within arm's length. 1-1. Can't get the bonus free throw as he misfires on the front end. Burrell comes down with the board. And Summer said, I could sing the national anthem. I only sing solos.
I've heard you sing.
No,
so
solo.
Summer, you don't want him to sing the national anthem.
Solo, you can't hear me. That's the way I do it.
Catamounts now 3 of 6 at the free throw line in the first half, so leaving some points at the charity stripe, but another opportunity here to try to trim down this 16-point deficit.
Abubakar Mutombo, entry pass to Amius, who got off to, again, a quick start, but has been quiet lately. 3-point shot left side, and again, three ball just not falling for Western Carolina here this afternoon. It's a big part of what the Catamounts do from the floor, just 1 of 10 to start the ball game from downtown. 1:45 to go, and we talked about the Catamounts wanting to try to find a way to get this thing under get it down to single digits, as Peter Jerkin will get called for the push-off as trying to get free down low. Again, he has worked hard down inside, and they've had a hard time getting in the basketball down low, but get another look at it here and just working and holding off his man. And the foul called and gives it back to Western Carolina as Larry Hunter looks on. He and his coaching staff trying to find a way to stop what has been offensive juggernaut here in the first half at ETSU.
Catamounts 9 of 25 from the floor in the first half, only 36%, so obviously they've got to step it up shooting the basketball in the second half if they want to pull the upset.
Free throw line, no good for Amius. Rebound picked up by Abubakar Mutombo, an athletic move there. off the bench today for Western Carolina. Name might sound familiar. His brother Haruna played in Cullowhee, and also the nephew of Dikembe Mutombo. Weak pass out in front. It's going to be taken away. And again, we talked about David Burrell. Ball deflected out near the midcourt stripe, but they're going to give it on the over and back to ETSU.
I think Steve Forbes wants to take his use it or lose it timeout here with 1:07 remaining.
Larry Hunter asking for an explanation on it. Again, there was deflection at the midcourt stripe, and they're going to say last touch by Western Carolina when it went before it went over the stripe, and when they did, they were the first team to pick it up. So the over and back violation. 1:07 to go, 38-22 the score as Western Carolina. Get another look at it here as again Burrell. Amius gets it right there, and I guess they're saying Amius, that's really close. Did he get possession before he went over the stripe? He doesn't think so. It's very, very close there, but it'll be another turnover to give it back to the Buccaneers, and Western Carolina coughs it up yet again, and that's been a big-time stat in this one. 8 turnovers, but it's been very costly as ETSU has been able to turn that into double-digit points. 11 points off the Catamount turnovers here in the first half alone, and you take those off the board, and it's a close ball game.
Buccaneers hoping to build on this lead here. They have possession after the timeout, and talked about East Tennessee State shooting the basketball 55% shooting in the first half from the floor.
Kanaya Obi-Rapu checks in to help run the point. Desante Bradford gets it back to Obi-Rapu. Back to Bradford, two-man game left side. Burrell, stop, jump shot, off the mark, no good, but Armas another offensive rebound, and the Buccaneers can milk more of this clock away. Under a minute to go before the halftime break. ETSU now with the 7th offensive rebound. And that's saying something considering they're shooting such a high percentage. Jump stop down the lane, no good, but Armas another offensive rebound and another putback. 8 offensive rebounds. Give them 6 second chance points here in the first half.
20 rebounds in total to only 12 for the Catamounts, so they are not only controlling the scoreboard but also the battle of the rebounds, and that's kind of a cause and effect factor right there.
18-point lead now for the Buccaneers. Largest of the ball game. Halverson with 2 on the game clock. Kicks it to Johnson. 3 ball at the buzzer. It's up and it's good. Desmond Johnson will knock it down for Western Carolina. Steve Forbes irate at his defense that they let a guy get that wide open. But how about the jump shot from the top of the key? And Desmond Johnson, the freshman, knocks it in and will cut it back to a 15-point deficit, 40-25. But it's got to be a first half that Steve Forbes has got to be extremely happy with. His team leads by 15. Summer McMahon standing by with the head coach now.
Coach, your team has had a productive start to this game. What's your message at halftime to keep this momentum going?
Well, I think we got to continue to share the ball on offense. Our ball movement's been really good. When we do that, we get good shots or we get drives to the basket. We got to continue to defend. You know, we've had some good possessions where we've grinded it out and got a couple shot clock violations. We just got to stay on that same path.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot, Summer. That's Steve Forbes, the head coach for ETSU. They've shared the ball nicely. They've knocked down 4 3-pointers here in the first half. They lead Western Carolina by 15 at intermission. It's the Buccaneers 40, the Catamounts 25. Back with more from Cullowhee.
With the Chase mobile app, Michaela de Prince could pay practically anyone at any bank, all while performing a grand jeté between 2 grand pianos. She could, in a commercial. In real life, she uses it to pay her sister from her couch for that sweater she stained.
What sweater?
Life lived Michaela's way. Chase, make more of what's yours.
The same sport hybrid super handling all-wheel drive system that powers the Acura NSX, now available in the new RLX.
We've reached halftime inside the Ramsey Center. Straight ahead, the Harrah's Cherokee Casino Resort halftime show here on ESPN3.
Wake up early, slap on some cologne. I'm 85 and I wanna go home.
Just got a job as a lifeguard in Savannah.
I'm 85 and I wanna go home. dropping sick beats, they called me DJ Nana.
85 and I want to go.
Don't get mad. Get E-Trade, kiddo.
Why create something this extravagant? Or make a back seat that feels nothing like a back seat? Why give it every feature you could want, along with a few you didn't know you needed? It's simple. You can build a car, or you can build a Cadillac. Come in now for this exceptional offer on the Cadillac CT6. Get this low-mileage lease on this 2018 Cadillac CT6 from around $549 per month. Visit your local Cadillac dealer.
Welcome back to Cullowhee, North Carolina. 40-25, the ETSU Buccaneers lead the Catamounts. Welcome into our Harris Cherokee Casino Resort halftime report. Daniel Hooker alongside Jeff Bryson. And Jeff, Western Carolina stayed pretty close there early part of the ball game, but ETSU, like we know they do, got rolling on defense. That turned into a lot of good offense, and they were able to pull away. Western Carolina got a big three right before the buzzer to close it back to a 15-point lead, but again, a lot of ETSU there in that first half.
You're right. The Catamounts struggled with turnovers, and East Tennessee State able to convert those into points. The points off turnover ended up at 13 in the first half, and also they did a great job, the Buccaneers did, inside the paint, outscoring the Catamounts 24-16 inside the lane. So, Daniel, those two stats really pop out here at halftime.
ETSU, she makes 4 3-pointers there in the first half as we take a look at our halftime statistics here. Again, presented by Ingles. Low prices, love the savings. 52% shooting for ETSU overall in the first half, 16 of 31. Again, they only made 4 3-pointers, but they were timely ones, 4 of 11 shooting from beyond the arc. And neither team has been to the free throw line all that often. Just 4 trips for ETSU, 6 for Western Carolina. But one of the big numbers, Jeff, that jumps off the page to me, it's the turnovers. 8 turnovers for Western Carolina, but that led to 13 points for ETSU.
You're right, and then you look at the bench points, the Buccaneers really piling up those numbers with some great help from the reserves here in the first half. So Catamounts with work to do, but maybe that three-pointer, as you mentioned, will be a little momentum for Coach Larry Hunter and his team back in the locker room here at the break.
Yeah, just 2 of 11 from downtown for Western Carolina in the first half. That 18%. 15-point lead for the Buccaneers here at intermission. They lead Western Carolina 40-25. Back with more on our Harris Cherokee Casino Resort halftime report.
There she is, your friend at Just Maria. You like her. She's really good at social media. She buys stocks in companies that stand for something. You like her. She's always up on the latest trends. She got in early on the whole goat yoga thing. And her sunsets are always #NoFilter. You like her. But you'd like her better if you made more money than she does. Don't get mad at Just Maria. Get E-Trade.
This is a can't-miss event. Get to Nissan now for big President's Day savings on Rogue with ProPilot Assist that helps keep you centered in your lane. The technology of tomorrow, available today. Get big savings on our entire lineup now. It's time for an upgrade. Hurry into the Nissan Now sales event for exclusive President's Day offers. Now get 0% financing for up to 72 months on 13 models or save up to $10,260 on select models.
Halftime from the Ramsey Center. ETSU has used 4 3-pointers, very timely ones, early one in the half, to build a 15-point lead here at intermission. The top of the key 3 right there. And again, they've got turned some turnovers into points for Western Carolina as David Burrell takes this one all the way down for a two-handed flush. And they've got a 15-point lead here at intermission. 40-25. We'll come back with the second half from Cullowhee right after this.
You may reveal. And the rain continues.
Ooh. As the Earl of Sandwich, I dub thee
the Sandwich.
Oh, well, Angelo.
There was a time when the next big thing in food was stuffed between bread. Now, the next big thing is the Capital One Saver Card. Earn 3% cash back on dining, 2% on groceries, and 1% on all other purchases.
What's in your wallet?
Let's get the new Red Robin Taco Tavern Double with guacamole, tortilla strips, and zesty salsa. One of 3 burgers, only $6.99 each. Anytime, with bottomless steak fries, of course. Let's burger.
Red Robin. Yum.
40-25, ETSU leads Western Carolina. Before we get started in the second half, let's check in with a third member of our broadcast team, Summer McMahon, with a report from the Western Carolina locker room.
Thanks, guys. The message at halftime was to guard better one-on-one, limit the turnovers, and clean up the rebounding.
We talked about those rebounding totals. Western Carolina being out-rebounded in the first half. Larry Hunter looks on. 23-14, the Buccaneers have the advantage. 8 of those coming on the offensive end, Jeff. And again, those 8 offensive rebounds for ETSU have led to 6 second-chance points. And you talk about 8 offensive rebounds, not too bad when you shoot 52% from the floor.
You're right. Some of these stats, though, are crippling numbers for the Catamounts, and it's a telltale sign while they trail by 15. But the biggest stat that I'm sure Coach Larry Hunter wants to see improved here in the second half, the shooting. The Catamounts only hit 10 free throws in the first half, 10 of 29, so got to clamp down on defense and start converting some of these missed shots.
Buccaneers will have the ball to start the second half. Catamounts will look first for a defensive stop to try to trim away at this 15-point deficit. 40-25, ETSU out in front. The league leader in the Southern Conference. Left side, Bradford knocks down a 3. Make that Payne knocks down the 3. Devontavious Payne with the triple, and he had 2 of those in the first half. That's his third of the day.
Boy, that's a dagger right there to start the second half after the momentum the Catamounts thought they had coming into halftime, and then the hope that would carry over into the second half. A big three-pointer by Payne to put the margin back at significant digits here, up by 18.
A missed shot. Now Devontavious Payne, 5 straight points out of the halftime locker room. And the Buccaneers went for 8 straight out of the locker room in Johnson City earlier this year. And that'll be the game's largest lead. They'll push it to 20 here 1 minute into the second half.
So let's see what the Catamounts can do, finding themselves in the biggest hole of the game early in the second half. Lots of time to rally back, but East Tennessee State coming out strong here to open up after halftime.
Out in front, Darice Parks looking to make something happen with 3 on the shot clock. Dumps it off to Mike Amius, who stripped on the way up. Buccaneers looking to build on that lead in transition. DeSante Bradford. That one blocked from behind by Mike Amius. Catamounts out and running in transition. Halverson thought about a 3. Now, Devin Peterson will take one and can't find the range. And rebound pulled down by Devontavious Payne. And the Buccaneers come back the other way again. A chance to build on this 20-point lead. They led Western Carolina by 22 in Johnson City. Looking to do the same here. Rebound battled for, out of bounds, last touch by Mark Gosselin. So again, not to start the Catamounts we're looking for out of the locker room for Larry Hunter and his squad. And the big thing for Western Carolina, in talking with the coaching staff, is they've handled their business against teams that are at their level and behind them in the Southern Conference standings. But it's been the teams that are in front of them in the standings that they have not been able to come away with any wins. Talking about ETSU, UNCG, Furman, Wofford, all those teams that are in front of them in the standings, they've not been able to get a win. His squad wanted to get a win today, not only to get a victory to stay above that 6th place line in the standings, but also find a way down the stretch as Halverson knocks down a 3. When you get to the conference tournament, if you beat ETSU today, you've got a little extra confidence that you can beat anybody you face in that tournament.
It also gives you the clout, even if you don't face that team. Your other opposition looks and says, hey, look what they did against the league leaders, so it gives you a signature win that, as you mentioned, the Catamounts have not had in conference play this season.
The biggest win right now was against Mercer, who they'll face on Tuesday down in Macon, Georgia. Lob does not connect, and the ball bounds out of bounds, and Steve Forbes looking at the officials, wondering where the foul call was. But it'll be a turnover and give it back to Western Carolina. Catamounts looking to try to climb a little bit closer. They trail 45-28, and now the guys on the bench has pointed to something on the floor. And
maybe some moisture. I'm not sure what the issue is. At first thought maybe a contact, but it looks like it was just a matter of some moisture on the court, and now we're back to live action.
17-23 and rolling. Western Carolina with the basketball, trailing ETSU 45-28. Again, the Catamounts will face Mercer. The Bears today have got UNCG, the team trying to keep pace with ETSU, and Peter Jerkin with a block down low. The big eraser at the rim. Right side, Payne spots for three. Good. He's got his fourth of the day. 4 for 4 from long range, and it's back to a 20-point lead, 48-28. Every time the Catamounts get something going on one end, ETSU has had the answer.
You can see why they are so highly touted, not only just looking at the record, but they certainly back it up with their play.
Amius can't connect, and Gosselin, instead of grabbing the rebound, tries to swat it back to a teammate. Buccaneers again a chance to build on their largest lead of the day. DeSante Bradford kicks it to Payne. The hot hand stays red hot. He's got 5. He fans himself. 5 made threes here in the ball game, and just like that, it's 51-28. ETSU pulling away, showing no ill effects from that road loss where they were held to just 56 points by UNCG. They've got a big lead here with 16:27 to go. Timeout on the floor. Will take it with them. Devontavious Payne knocks it down from downtown. Out to a big lead are the Buccaneers.
Experience East Tennessee State University.
Experience our campus life.
Experience our academic programs.
Experience our region. Experience more. Experience East Tennessee State University.
Amanda, did you get any work done over the weekend?
Of course. I spent all weekend driving towards our goals. It was all work, work, work. Things got really tense. I'll tell you, I had some great ideas flying around the table. I just kept pulling all-nighters. I really think I found what we were looking for. I'd say it was a very productive weekend.
I'll bet it was.
It's just a short drive to Harris Cherokee Casino Resort.
At Ingalls, we have a very special family. A family of farmers, ranchers, and dairymen. Clerks, butchers, and bakers. Deli workers, pharmacists, and florists. We work hard every day to bring you the very best. And we'll continue to wake up every morning and work as hard as you do. This is our town, and we built this community together. Ingalls, your neighbor for over 50 years.
Devontavious Payne with 5 made three-pointers in the ball game. A game-high 19 points is leading the way for ETSU. They lead the Catamounts 51-28 with 16 and a half to go before this one's all said and done from Cullowhee. Big-time day for Payne, who came in shooting 37%, as Mike Amius will try his hand at an old-fashioned three-point play as he'll draw the foul down low, trying to keep the Catamounts in this thing. But right now, Devontavious Payne has had a day and a half for the Buccaneers as Amius goes right down and draws the foul there on DeSante Bradford, his first on ETSU here in the second half.
And a good find by Matt Halverson. That's going to be the 8th point of the game for Mike Amius. He ties Doris Parks for the scoring lead for the Catamounts.
Cannot connect on the free throw, so a missed opportunity there, but Buccaneers with the ball and a lead. Devontavious Payne, heat check on that one. First miss. He backed up a little bit, but another offensive rebound. ETSU fresh shot clock. They go back to work. David Burrell, dribble drive, loses the handle on the way up. Ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by the Buccaneers. It'll be Western Carolina basketball after this under 16 official timeout. 51-30. The Buccaneers lead by 21 points over Western Carolina. Steve Forbes to talk things over with his squad. They've got a commanding lead here from Cullowhee.
Two foes duke it out for the Big 12 as the ultimate diaper dandy lands in Lawrence. It's a Sonic blockbuster.
This is going to be a lot of fun.
Oklahoma versus Kansas, Monday at 9 on ESPN.
It's time for the rivalry. We all know why, but now we're getting live to see. Two teams trying to fight for the victory, but let's see who goes down in history.
Thunder Warriors, next Saturday at 8:30 on ABC. Presented by YouTube TV.
Buccaneers break the huddle. They lead Western Carolina 51-30, trying to stay atop the Southern Conference standings. Obviously, UNCG right behind them after the win earlier this week down in Greensboro. Buccaneers, Jeff, will have a favorable schedule after the conclusion of today's game. They get to go back to the friendly confines of Freedom Hall up in ETSU in Johnson City.
You're right. 3 straight to close out the season. They'll be at home on Tuesday night against the Citadel. Then coming into Johnson City will be Wofford and Furman. So the Buccaneers with a chance to finish on a roll heading into the Southern Conference tournament with those 3 home games after this trip to Cullowhee. This, by the way, caps off a 3-game road swing for the Buccaneers.
Mark Gosselin called for an illegal screen. Will pick up his 3rd personal, trying to spring Darius Parks. And again, right now, Catamounts just not handling adversity very well, as Gosselin still trying to talk things over, trying to figure out what he did with the official. But again, right now, it's just ETSU has been the tougher team on the boards. They've knocked down some big shots, and again, they've not really been pressured much since the early going by Western Carolina. 21-point advantage with the basketball. Bradford finding Devontavious Payne, who's got 19 points. He only had 6 at UNCG earlier in the week, so he's bounced back nicely there.
Nice deflection by Amius, chased down by Parks.
Amius slow to come back up the floor. The last one up, he slipped coming up the floor as he tried to get going. Lob inside. Darius Parks runs the baseline, and a good find by the big man. Good pass there by Mike Amius, and now as the Buccaneers get back up the floor, time called. They looking for perspiration on the floor, says our official. Is going to get a good look at it here from the elbow. Nice pass as Darius Parks, all eyes looking at the ball. McLeod was in Parks' hip pocket and then got caught looking at Amius, thinking he might take a jump shot from the free throw line. Instead, drops a dime to Parks, who is able to find the range. Kanaya Obi-Rapu checks back in for the Buccaneers. Also in is Armas. Has the ball top of the key. Gets it to Bradford. Bradford's pass near side is going to be off target, and trying to get it to Bo Hodges, and will turn it over. So Western Carolina will have an opportunity to again try to claw a little bit closer. Bradford just with 6 points today. Bo Hodges has 10. Again, the big guy has been Devontavious Payne. Darius Parks goes inside to Amius. He's cut off, and his pass is going to be launched back towards midcourt.
Amius thought Peterson was stationary up near the top of the key, but he had made a move over towards the right corner, over to the right hash mark, and that will give the ball back to the Buccaneers as the Catamounts turnovers continue to be problems. And the Buccaneers, as we've alluded to, have been able to convert those turnovers into points to help them maintain a double-digit lead.
Well, even if they don't turn it into points, it's just wasted opportunity and clock time running down when you're trailing here. Rapu into the lane, not able to find the range. Rebound picked up by Gosselin. So again, it just worked another 30-plus seconds off the clock after you turned it over. And if you're turning it over, that means you're not scoring. And if you're going to claw back in this thing, you got to find some points in a hurry.
And if you're going to claw back, you need to start clawing back now. If you're Western Carolina, you've let the lead kind of hang around this 15 to 20-point margin here now for most of the second half. And they have not been able to pull closer.
3 on the shot clock, and Halverson's going to try a off-balance 3, but will be bailed out by Bo Hodges, who will be guilty of the foul, as Halverson will go to the line to shoot 3.
Coach Steve Forbes not happy with the call, but overall not a lot of fouls have been called in this game. Neither team reached double bonus opportunities in the first half, and you can see only 3 total fouls have been whistled here as we had just over 7 minutes elapsed in the second half. Check that, just over 6 minutes elapsed in the second half as Halverson at the free throw line shooting 3.
First 2 are good. Again, 85% on the year for Halverson. He'll have 1 more coming. Trying to get 3 the hard way. You go back in that first meeting, Halverson had 5 points. 5 of his 7 points came from the free throw line in the first meeting up in Johnson City. Having a similar type of day today, Halverson knocks down all 3. He's got 7 points. 3 of those from the stripe. Obi Rapu around the horn to Bradford. Desante Bradford, dribble drive in the lane, blocking foul. Amius late getting over to try to cut off the baseline. Bradford was in the act of passing it back out, so it should just be an inbounds. Now they're going to give him shots. I thought he was in the act of backing it back out. But they will call it a shooting foul here.
Let's see what the camera shows here on the replay as you see the move down the baseline.
That was a late backside action where we are. It looked like he was trying to dump it off to Armas, but instead probably a good call there to give him the shots. It looked like he might have been going up looking for it. It's going to be a tough angled shot. And that was going to be down almost below the side of the backboard.
Obi Rapu on the first attempt, and this one is good. Let's check that Bradford at the free throw line, and Bradford's had another strong performance today for the Buccaneers.
76% free throw shooter on the year, gets them both. 53-35. ETSU continues to maintain a comfortable double-digit lead, and Catamounts are already starting to roll the ball up the floor in an attempt to salvage some of the clock. But offense against the defense of ETSU is not going to come easy. One of the top defensive teams in the Southern Conference, both in shooting percentage and points allowed. Bradford with a steal. Comes up the floor. He's got Obi Rapu on the corner. He takes it all the way in, and Mike Amius laid up the floor. Will just sling that one well out of bounds.
This may be just a bit of a frustration block as you see Amius.
Yeah, ball still on the way up.
With a nice defensive positioning here.
I don't know if Bradford realized that Amius was that close on the play.
Now Halverson gets tied up down low with Hodges, and Halverson will be whistled for the foul.
I'm going to say Bo Hodges will go to the line now for a couple of shots.
That will be the first personal on Halverson.
Right at 69% on the year for Bo Hodges. First one rattles off, no good. 53-35 again. The Buccaneers have been very comfortable again as they just got lost in the shuffle, and Hodges fouled hard by Halverson, and he gets one of the two. Again, Western Carolina will try to save some of the clock by rolling it out at least one quarter court. Dive below the 13-minute mark.
Well, the Buccaneers have held the Catamounts to 52 points or less in the last 3 games between the two teams, and they may be on their way to forcing the Catamounts to a low-scoring output again today. As you can see, only 35 points, but still plenty of time left in the game.
And now a foul going to be whistled on Mike Amius coming up the floor. As Amius trying to make something happen coming up the floor. So it will be ETSU basketball in the front court. Armas off a high ball screen, little pick and roll, comes down, can't find the range, driving down the lane. Devin Peterson in transition, goes all the way in, shot up, will not find the bottom of the basket, but will draw the contact, and a foul on ETSU. You get a look at Peterson coming right down the midline, and of course, when you've got an eraser like Peter Jerkin, or in this case, Bo Hodges back there, Hodges skying for a chance at a block shot. You got guys on that back line that are able to do that. You're able to be a little more aggressive out in front defensively.